Taliban negotiator and media spokesman Suhail Shaheen. And while we have a link to you, it's good to be able to use this opportunity to talk to you straight away. Thank you very much for joining us today, Suhail Shaheen. President Biden said last night, if the Taliban attack our personnel or disrupt the operation, that there'll be a swift response from America. How long are you giving him to get his troops and his people out of the country?
I think they should get their troops out of Afghanistan. They have already violated the time frame which was enshrined in the Doha Agreement. Then they announced that they will withdraw all their forces until September 11. So they should withdraw all their forces. But we are committed not to attack them, and we have not attacked them.
But at some point you will want the airport back, I would assume. When are you saying that you will take over the airport? Is that September?
No, about the security of the airport, because there is no other force. So, you know, the other day, people killed because of lynching. So in order to prevent such incidents, it is necessary that we take the security charge of the airport. So that is for the security of the people and also for to organize it in a better manner. So such incident do not happen once more.
So far, it has been relatively calm on the streets of Afghanistan. What assurances can you give people that after the US, after the UK leave, that the Taliban won't revert to the Taliban that we saw there 20 years ago?
This is a propaganda. You may have seen a lot of baseless reports for the last 20 years, and more than that maybe, for the last 25 years. But this is not the fact. We have already announced general amnesty to all Afghan people, for all those who have worked in the Kabul administration, who have worked with foreigners who are working in the embassies. So we have announced to them that their property will be saved and their honor and their life, all those are saved. And we practically are showing by our actions and deeds every day. So they should not be worried about that.
One group of people who are worried, clearly, are women whose role and position in society in Afghanistan under the Taliban was not what it is now. We know that you've given reassurances to women that they can continue education. How much education will women be able to have? Will they be able to stay in school past the age of 12? Will they be able to go to university? Yes,
they can get education from primary to higher education. That means university, yes. We have announced this policy not once in international conferences like in Moscow conference, here in Doha conference. We mentioned in our leaders mentioned in their speeches. So this is our policy. Yes. And we are already working on this in all those areas falling to us in Afghanistan. There were thousands of schools, girls' schools, universities. They all are operating. To schools to teach, and also the students are going to universities. And even today, you may have seen the anchor of Tulu News, and a female. She returned to her job.
And so will that remain? Will women be able to travel around Afghanistan without a male accompanying them? And will they be able to do so without wearing a burqa?
Oh, it is Islamic hijab. It is burqa is not the only hijab that should be observed. There is maybe a different type of hijab. So it is not limited to burqa.
So you will
limited to
expect
burqa.
you'll expect women to wear the hijab, but not necessarily the burqa.
Right, right.
What about Afghan women who've been able to wear what they would like to wear for the last 10 years? Why do you think you can dictate to them what they can wear?
So these are not our roles. These are Islamic roles as Muslim women, not only in Afghanistan, in all Islamic countries. The women, they are observing this hijab, and all practicing women, they are observing hijab. So it's a part of their belief. So I think they will not have any problem with that, because that is part of the Islamic rules and also the part of Islamic and Afghan culture. But this basic rights as access to education and access to work, that is maintained. They can have those their rights. There will be no problem in that.
That it's about interpretation, isn't it? And Islam doesn't necessarily teach that women have to wear the hijab. Why do you think that they have to wear it in Afghanistan?
And not only in Afghanistan, in all Islamic countries, a woman being a Muslim, she has to, according to the rules of Islam, to wear hijab. That's it. Maybe a female is living in USA, in European countries, in any part of the world. So she has to wear that. It is not something that we have imposed from ourselves on women. It is something which is on the basis of the Holy Quran and the rules of our religion. The female have to wear hijab. That is for their security and also for decency.
Let's move away from that and talk about the pledges you've made for the leadership in Afghanistan. An open, inclusive Islamic government, you say. Give us your vision of what that looks like. I mean, could you imagine there ever being a female prime minister? Could you imagine there being female high court judges, for example? What about President Karzai? Would there be a role for him?
About those, our policy is clear, which I said they can have access to education and work. That's one thing. Secondly, they can hold position, but that position they can hold it in the light of the Islamic rules. So there is a general framework for them.
What about previous leaders that we've seen over the last 10 years? President Karzai, Ashraf Ghani, could they be invited back into Afghanistan?
Karzai is already in Kabul.
And would he have a role within the Taliban regime? Sorry, I just wanted to know whether you thought President Karzai could have a role within the Taliban regime.
So that's I can't comment right now, but that is for the leadership and the deliberation, the consultation that is going on for formation of a new Afghan Islamic government. So we would leave it to that.
And in terms of the leadership,
now I don't have any comment.
In terms of the leadership, we're hearing that. Okay. In terms of the leadership, we're hearing that Mullah Baradar is travelling today from Doha to Kandahar. Can you confirm that?
There is intention that Mullah Baradar go to Afghanistan. There's planning, but I can't say what time, exactly what time. So maybe today, tomorrow, or other day. I can't say it specifically, but he is to go to Afghanistan. Yes.
And will he be leading the Taliban in Afghanistan? Who will be leading the Taliban there?
So this is under instruction and consultation of our top leadership. then that decision will be taken on the basis of their consultation and deliberation that will be taken here.
Do you have any idea how long that consultation will take?
I think it will be completed soon, within 2-3 days.
So we should know who is leading the Taliban there in 2 or 3 days. In terms of the Taliban's movement through Afghanistan, Britain and the US did appear to be very surprised at how quickly you were able to take over. Why do you think you faced such little resistance?
Because we had people's support, because the Kabul administration was corrupt, because those who were running the government, there was a gap between them, their military forces, between them and the people of Afghanistan. We are part of the people of Afghanistan. We are wearing like the people. We are thinking like the people. We want what the people want. So our demands are similar. Our culture are similar. Our everything, we are similar. We are closer to the people, and rather than them. And they were people whose families were living in other countries, and they were just here. So their purpose was just how to line their pockets, how to accumulate wealth, but they were not caring for the people. So this created a huge gap between them and the people, and the people no more trust them, and even their security forces no more trust them. The security forces had two choices: either to support this moribund and corrupt administration, or to join us. They chose to join us. And after that, you saw falling of districts after districts, province after province. I think this is my observation of the
What about those who will say? What about those who will say that the other view is that they were just absolutely terrified of what the Taliban were like in power before, and that is why no resistance has been put up, because people are just too scared to?
That is their narrative, because always they are not reflecting the ground realities. By these narratives, baseless narratives, they were trying to mislead the world opinion in their favor. But the result was, they deceived all the world, not only themselves, but all the world.
To point out that the Taliban were a brutal regime is not a baseless narrative, it is simply fact. But do you think the Taliban have changed in the last 20 years?
If you say that's a fact, it may be influenced by their reports, by the propaganda in the media for the last 20 years. You may not have been to our areas, you have not lived in our areas, but only you have heard. That is why you are saying. We will if they invite you once to Afghanistan to see with your eyes what are happening, what the people are welcoming us. You see, and just today is more secure. Kabul city is more secure than happy. They say everything has changed. There is a very secure environment. So even when the Kabul administration set up at that time, they announced we will arrest or kill every member of Taliban. But when we got the government, we announced a general amnesty for all. We said your property is saved, your honor is saved, your life is saved. Even though we know they killed us, not 10, not hundreds, thousands of us were killed by them. But we still announced a general amnesty. This is the difference. Who are the brutal? We are the brutal, or they? Though they who harassed us, who killed us, who tortured us, we announced amnesty for them. So that's the difference. This is something, actions, not words. And the action, the sound louder than words.
Well, it's certainly the case that the world will be watching the actions of the Taliban in the coming weeks and days, isn't it? What about money? Let's talk a little bit about that. According to the World Bank, aid flows have fallen from around 100% of GDP into Afghanistan in 2009 to just over 40% in the latest figures. It presumably means that aid is on hold. How is the Taliban going to continue to run Afghanistan? You're keen for the people who work in a lot of these organisations to go back to work, to keep the infrastructure of the country going, which is perfectly laudable. But how will you afford to be able to do that? How will you keep it running financially?
Yes, when there is a peace, we have natural resources, huge natural resources. We have very hard-working people. We have national businessmen. So we work that we will invite investors to Afghanistan. So we hope and we believe in our people and their capacities and their hard working and a good planning for future that would be we will be able to provide prosperity for our people, to provide employment for our people, to bring about economic momentum in the country. Also, Afghanistan is a bridge between the Central Asia and the South Asia. So we work also on that to be a point of connectivity and many other projects. We have also some mega projects like this Tapi pipeline and railway roads projects and other projects that we hope and are going to start them.
I mean, these are all big projects, aren't they? How in the short term are you going to pay people's wages, though?
Of course, we need cooperation of other countries in the short period. We need their cooperation in order to pay the wages of the teachers, the officials, and the security forces. Also, that's a need. So we call on all countries to come to and assist us. I think there is a need for an international conference that for economic assistance for Afghanistan, as it has been in the past. I think it is once again need of the people, not for us, for the people of Afghanistan. There should be an international conference of donor countries.
I mean, it's going to be difficult, isn't it, to convince the rest of the world to give money to Afghanistan under the Taliban, when it was under the Taliban that al-Qaeda found a home there. What reassurances can you give President Biden, who's asked for them directly, that your days of hiding terrorists in the hills in Afghanistan are over, that al-Qaeda will not have a base in the country under the Taliban?
Yes, this is our policy and our commitment, whether he says or not say. We are following our policy, and that policy is that we will not allow anyone, any group, individual, to use the soil of Afghanistan against any country, including the USA. So that is, we have agreed on the basis of the Doha Agreement. We are abiding by that.
Who do you see as your closest international ally?
We do not have allies as such, and we are not member of any bloc, military bloc. But what we want, that we seek cooperation of all countries in the reconstruction of Afghanistan, and their assistance with us in order to provide a proper and dignified life for the people of Afghanistan.
Are you getting financial support from countries like Pakistan, Russia, China?
No, we do not. We are not getting support, financial support, but we are having good relation with them.
Sorry, you're getting what from these countries?
Sorry, if you repeat, I didn't hear you clearly.
Yeah, sorry, what support are you getting from these countries?
We are getting political support. We visited China and also Russia, and you may have seen the reports. They said the Taliban are a political and a great political and military force of Afghanistan. So that is a reality, and also they supported this. This we are getting.
And in terms of what's actually happening on the ground today, there are people within Kabul who are keen to get to the airport. There are some reports that people have had their passports taken away from them or torn up at checkpoints. What reassurances can you give to people who want to get out of Afghanistan that they can?
No, first of all, I totally refute that passports were taken and then turned and off. That's not true. These are some of the allegations of the last 20 years. But you know, there were a few people killed during lynching in the airport, and you may have seen those videos. So because of that, there is a restriction that such incident does not happen once more. So the checkpoints are set up for that purpose.
What do you think when you see the pictures, which I'm sure you must have seen in Qatar, of people falling from aeroplanes as they take off from Afghanistan, from Kabul airport, because they are so desperate to leave the country?
I think that was for the Americans and to maintain security, not to allow all those to enter the airport, because our forces were not there. You are not responsible. They were responsible. It was their airplane, not ours. So all those belong to them, not to us. But now when we took the security of the airport, such incident stopped to happen. Now everything is in an orderly manner.
I'm just wondering, though, if you say that while the Taliban was in power, that the atrocities that we saw here in the West, you say that they are propaganda, that they didn't happen. If that is the case, why are people so desperate to leave the country that they are taking their life into their hands to climb onto the outside of an aircraft?
Why they announced that everyone should come, and now today, because otherwise there will be no plane, and without any passport, any documents, they will be taken to the Western countries and also to USA. Everyone wants to leave Afghanistan because Afghanistan is a poor country. So, and economically a poor country. Many people are living here. Up to 70% of the people are living under poverty line because of the corrupt Kabul administration. So when they saw the opportunity and the reports and rumors that they should, if they want to go abroad, this is their chance. So everyone, they accumulated deer, gathered deer, they wanted, everyone wanted. So I think the responsibility is with them, rests with them, not with us.
Yeah, they didn't seem that desperate to leave before the Taliban arrived, though, did they? Do you have a message for the UK Prime Minister?
Yes. The UK Prime Minister and all leaders of the world they should respect the aspiration of the people of Afghanistan. The people of Afghanistan, they fought for their freedom with their lives and their equipment and money, everything they had for the last 20 years. Now they want to open a new chapter of peace, peaceful coexistence, reconstruction of Afghanistan. So they should respect the aspiration and will of the people of Afghanistan and help the people of Afghanistan in rebuilding the country and providing prosperous life for the people in economic development. I think this is their obligation because they were behind the destruction of Afghanistan during the 20 years. So now it is their moral obligation to also help to reconstruct Afghanistan and to help the people to start a new life, in a new chapter of Afghanistan.
And in the same spirit, does the Taliban promise to respect the will, the aspiration, and the freedoms of the people inside Afghanistan, especially women?
Of course, we have announced, as I said, we are committed to the women's rights to education and also to work, to freedom of speech. In the light of our Islamic rules, it is very necessary to criticize a person, an official, if there is a need, because if you do not criticize an official, how you can reform, how you can bring about a reform. So it is necessary. We believe in freedom of speech and also the right of people of education and work, and also that all people, all citizens should be equal in the sight of law, and there should not be any kind of discrimination. That is some of the general principle that we believe, and also the world believe in that.
Okay. Will you be returning from Doha soon? Do you think we will be having this conversation with you perhaps next week from Afghanistan?
I hope so, yes.